In my last video, I made the guitar amplifier that Radioshack didn't make. Only thing is, when I turn up the gain on it, it actually falls flat on its face. I think I know why it's doing this, and I think I have a solution, but will it work? Really only one way to find out, but make sure to stick around because I'm also going to go into how I actually achieved this cracked paint finish on the front panel here. And also, if you like stuff like this, or even automotive repair, go ahead and be sure to subscribe and leave a like, and stick around, check out a couple of my other videos. I think you'll like it. Okay, so now when I initially got this little amplifier board, the circuit in it, I did see a problem that I thought was a problem off the bat, and kind of wanted to do the first video in a more easy, you know, minimalistic tone, and we'll get to the problem. But one of the things that will actually give it away is it's hard to see the light, but here it is. We turn it on, you can see the light turns on. Turn it on, you can see the LED goes off. Now, the people out there that know and know circuitry, usually with a Class AB amplifier like this, there should be a supply cap, and meaning once you turn this off, that LED should actually delay turning off. It shouldn't turn off. Look at it, it turns off instantly. So that is a problem with it not having a supply capacitor. And I think that's what the problem is when we turn the gain up and it starts to demand more current from the battery. It doesn't have the capacitor there to, you know, kind of back it up, and it starts to do that oscillating thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this apart, and we're going to try to add a capacitor in here in some fashion or way. Okay. Man, that thing is bright. Alright, so here we are. I think the smartest thing to do is going to be to take this battery out. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this capacitor, which is 1500 microfarad. This is way too big for what it needs, but we're going to see if I put it here, right at the battery. Actually, we're going to see what happens. It goes something like this. Right now, this is actively charging. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on. And let's see if it takes a while for that capacitor to turn off. Nope. And the reason why is because this is actually before the switch. Also, now this isn't going to be able to discharge. So another thing I'm thinking of doing is actually putting this into where the LED hooks up, because that is just a positive and negative that also goes straight to the battery, but it will have the LED to drain it, and I believe it will be able to supply the amplifier chip itself. I don't know, we're gonna have to check it out. I pretty much put that capacitor on the battery like that. I hooked up the guitar, and it still did the same thing. It did that weird oscillating thing. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna ponder this for a minute, and I'm gonna go ahead and move on to removing that back plate. I'm going to show you how to get this cracked finish. After we do that, we will return, and hopefully I can figure out some way to make it stop doing that. This is what we're going to go paint, but I think I might have figured out a part 3 to this video, but we're not giving up on this little amp yet. Alright, and a great little tip for if you're painting anything kind of in a garage or anywhere you don't want to get any overspray, take a box and cut it down the side, and then kind of open it up and use that. You can even kind of fold the sides up, the flaps up, and minimize overspray as much as possible. Alright, so here it is. I've already cleaned this with some Dawn. Another quick tip, if you want to get some cheap surface prep for any type of paint, use Dawn dish soap. It works really well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I believe this is 220 sandpaper. I wish I had a little bit of a lower, but I think that'll be just fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly rough up the face where I'm going to be actually painting. And don't worry, because the first base coat is actually going to be a frosted finish anyways, and it's going to be textured. It's not really going to affect the final, you know, like if you were doing a gloss or something, you wouldn't want to use something this heavy, but this is just kind of to make sure that we've knocked off everything off of the face of this. You know, I think something like that would be good. I'll probably go and wash this off again with Dawn just to make sure we're all good and let it kind of dry, and then I will show you the process of how this actually works. Okay, so got it all cleaned up, got it all scuffed up. Now the first step doing this is I've been using this Rust-Oleum frosted glass, and with painting anything, you always want to do, you know, separate coats. We're going to do about 3 to 4 coats of the frosted glass, and each coat you want to do a very thin layer and then wait a minute or two and then do your next layer, your next coat. What that's doing is it kind of gives each layer time to cure and harden up a little bit, just so it can take, you know, the next coat. But now what this is going to do is after we do that 4th or 5th coat, within the cure time, we are going to take this Rust-Oleum fluorescent, and this time we're going to use green instead of the pink. What you do is then you do 2 coats in the exact same fashion with this. And what it does is, since they're like different paints, it will kind of become, the best thing I could describe it as is like hydrophobic, where it kind of wants to separate from each other. Separation is really what they're doing. And then doing that, it makes the little cracks. So now we will start with our coats. Really, really small coats. All right, 4th coat. Now we're going to do 2 coats of the green, very, very light. Let's let that sit for a second. All right, now the 2nd one. Just like that. Now this is not going to be instantaneous. It's going to take a little bit, but I'm going to set up my phone or the GoPro or something to get a time lapse on that so we can actually see it. After a couple of hours, here we go. This is what it looks like. This will exaggerate a little bit more over the next 24 hours, but that is not the final step. After this dries for 24 hours, then go ahead and do about 6 to 8 coats of the frosted over it, because you got to think this green is just a very thin coat of flaky paint, essentially. And you're going to kind of do a top coat and cover it with frosted glass. So that actually turned out really well. Somebody smudged it right there, but it's not going to be a big deal. I've actually came up with something here. As you can see here, I put a 1500 microfarad capacitor into the LED circuit. The LED circuit runs straight to the battery, pretty much. So I was hoping that this was going to help because basically the lack of the supply cap. But I've actually found something very interesting with this. I'm going to play one of my videos. Turn down. It's not turned up at all. So we're going to turn my phone down pretty far. And I want to show you something. I'm going to turn the tone or the gain all the way down. Let's go ahead and turn it on. We can hear some music. All right, now we're going to go from here. I'm going to turn my phone up a little bit. And that's about, I don't know, 3/4 of the way up. Now, hopefully I can do this. As you can see, the volume is all the way down right now. Don't want that to short out on anything. Okay, off. Volume is all the way down. Now watch when I turn the volume up. Something's wrong there. Now let's keep it all the way up, and let's turn the gain up. There we go. I'm going to move it back a little bit. That's all the way up. Now let's turn the phone all the way up. Okay, so that's a little bit too much. Okay, so basically what's going on here is that gain pot is only a tone pot. It only brings in like lower frequencies from what I'm hearing. All it's doing is it's really enhancing the lower frequencies, and the volume knob is literally doing nothing. So here's my thing with this board. Now this was supplied by a company that is very prominent in the cigar box guitar. Basically they have a bunch of kits where you can make your own guitars and stuff like that, and they use a small piezoelectric pickup, which is the output voltage of that is very, very small. So I think these amps are kind of made just for that. Now that being said, I don't really think that this is going to work for what I want now. And I also know that there is definitely a difference of impedances between, you know, my music player and what a guitar would do. It does seem like the electrolytic capacitor helped a little bit. And as you will see, which obviously makes sense, see the LED is glowing, and I'll turn it off and see it takes a second. It kind of fades out as well as it fades in. It's not that instantaneous. That's because the capacitor is actually charging and discharging. I will admit that this little amplifier board is pretty cool. I like the idea that they were going for with it, but it definitely has some flaws. I don't really think that this is going to be something that I'm going to want to use, like I said. This is actually running off of a JRC 2073. When I ordered this, it didn't say what the chip was actually in it. I could have sworn it was going to be an LM386, which is what it should be. It's definitely, in my opinion, the best small Class AB amplifier around, you know, this wattage. Like I said, the idea is great, all that, but there's a problem with the potentiometers. The volume knob in particular is 500K, and that's kind of high for a music player, very high for a music player, and still about 5 times too high for a guitar amplifier. So pretty much what I think we're going to do is we're just going to steal the leads off of this, and I'm going to make from scratch with the LM386 chip and a buffer circuit. I'm going to make a completely new guitar amplifier circuit, and I think we're going to actually use this as a place to mount the actual circuit board. So this is going to have a couple of different uses for it. But yeah, we are definitely not done with the guitar amplifier that Radioshack Never made. So if you've been following along with the build and you like the channel, please consider subscribing. You can check out some of my other videos in a playlist up here, and you can also check out this video over here, or it might be video over here and a playlist over there. I do it every time. But anyways, thank you.